What is going on, everyone? Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis In 5 presented by Dutchie. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Brand new week, so here we go. And I've got a headline for you here today. A new federally funded study shows that states banning marijuana are the same states where hemp-based THC products like Delta-8 are thriving. No surprise here. Now, anyone in this space knows what that means. Demand for THC isn't going away. When regulators close one door, the market finds another, this time through hemp loopholes, which we're very familiar with. Thank you, Dank Informer. So today we're going to break down what this study really says, why consumers are leaning on hemp products, and why this is one more reason the federal government under the Trump administration has to step in with some national rules instead of leaving it to a patchwork of states. It's time. So with that, let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis In 5 presented by Dutchie. Here we go. So let's first begin. This was a federally funded research project that looked at consumption patterns across states. The key takeaway here is Delta-8 THC and other hemp-derived intoxicants sell the most in states that ban recreational cannabis. No surprise here. Delta-8 is psychoactive, but it's derived from hemp, not marijuana. Thanks to the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp and its derivatives were legalized federally, so long as Delta-9 THC levels stayed under 0.3%, which many of you are aware of. So that one technical threshold opened the door for a booming market in hemp cannabinoids, Delta-8, Delta-10, HHC, and others. The study proves what everyone in the industry already knows. When consumers don't have access to regulated cannabis, they'll buy what's legally available, even if it's less studied and less regulated product. Question here, though, is do they know what they're buying? And that's the real contradiction here. Lawmakers thought they were limiting THC access, but they've actually pushed consumers into a gray market. Good to finally get some more and more data about this. Some call Delta-8 a loophole, but let's be honest, it's not about crafty entrepreneurs, it's about consumer demand. If you live in a state where cannabis is banned and you see a hemp-derived THC drink or gummy at a smoke shop, what are you going to do? People are then going to buy what's available, and that's the unfortunate thing. So Congress really never intended the Farm Bill to create an intoxicant market. That bill was written to legalize hemp fiber and CBD, but chemistry moved faster than policy, as we know, converting CBD into Delta-8, and it became a massive business, especially in prohibition states. So really, we shouldn't be surprised here by this study. It's exactly what you'd expect when consumers want THC but can't access it legally. Supply then adapts and demand doesn't vanish. So the bigger question here is what happens when the only available THC products are less regulated, less tested, and less consistent than cannabis sold at a dispensary? Well, that's where health and safety concerns are starting to pile up. Right now, hemp intoxicants like Delta-8 don't run through the same regulatory hoops as cannabis sold in licensed dispensaries. They create three major issues. One, of course, is youth access. These products are often sold in gas stations, corner shops, and online with minimal age verification. Poison control centers have reported spikes in Delta-8 exposures, particularly involving minors. That is alarming. Then there's number two, the potency surprises. Unlike dispensary cannabis where products are labeled and tested, hemp drinks and gummies often come with unclear or inconsistent dosing. Some beverages contain 50 to 100 milligrams of THC equivalents, far stronger than a typical 5 or 10 milligram cannabis edible. Then there's number three, contamination risks. Because Delta-8 is synthesized from CBD in labs, poor manufacturing practices can leave behind solvents or impurities. So the FDA has flagged mislabeling and marketing to minors. DEA officials have also hinted that certain hemp cannabinoids could be reclassified as controlled substances if Congress doesn't act. We'll have more on this later this week with Senator Rand Paul. So while Delta-8 feels like legal cannabis, it's not. It's intoxicating, yes, but it's not tested or tracked and regulated like marijuana. And when that gap exists, states then step in. So when we look at all these different rules, the response has been all over the place. We've got bans. States like California, Alabama, and New York have outright banned hemp-derived intoxicants. We've got regulation in states like Minnesota, Virginia, and others have taken a middle ground, allowing hemp products but setting strict dosage limits, requiring age verification and mandating lab testing. Then you got everyone's favorite story right now in the industry, and that's Texas chaos. Texas has been at the center of the fight. Lawmakers tried to pass a full hemp ban this year, but Governor Greg Abbott vetoed that bill, saying regulation was smarter than prohibition. So for now, hemp drinks and gummies remain legal in Texas, but under constant political threat. The result is a messy patchwork. A consumer in one state can buy Delta-8 in a convenience store, while in others, possession is illegal. So for businesses, it's almost impossible impossible to scale nationally when the rules can change every time you cross the border. This is why we need direction from the top. And with that, that brings us back to Washington. This is where the study should ring alarm bells for policymakers. The fact that bans push consumers into less regulated hemp markets proves one thing: leaving the issue to the states does not work. Consumers are getting THC one way or another. If it's not from licensed cannabis dispensaries, it's from hemp products that don't have really standardized testing or safety protocols. That's a given. So this is why President Trump and his administration in Washington has to step up and put federal rules in place. Without it, you get 50 different markets, 50 different set of rules, and consumers caught in the middle. So what does national oversight mean here, or could mean? A clear definition of hemp versus marijuana, standardized testing requirements, age restrictions that match alcohol and cannabis, and an even playing field for businesses. So whether you're pro-cannabis or not, the study shows that the current system isn't protecting public health or giving businesses stability. The longer Washington delays, the bigger the gap is going to get. And that's a problem for everyone, from operators to investors, and really for consumers, especially on the health side. So really for entrepreneurs and investors, the takeaway from this study is two-sided. On one hand, demand is undeniable. Hemp products are filling gaps in prohibition states, creating billion-dollar opportunities. Then on the other hand, the risks are enormous. If Congress rewrites the Farm Bill and narrows the definition of hemp, a huge chunk of this market could disappear overnight. So yes, the study confirms there's money being made here, but for businesses in this industry, the question remains, are you betting on a market that Washington may decide to shut down? That uncertainty explains why there's so much caution right now to proceed on what comes next. They want to see federal clarity before making major commitments to hemp THC when it comes to overall money lending and investing, especially when you look at institutional investors one day if there's any banking bills that pass. So this federally funded study isn't just about Delta-8 sales, it's a mirror held up to U.S. drug policy. So really, restrictive cannabis laws don't eliminate demand, they redirect it. And when the alternative is hemp intoxicants with weaker safeguards, consumers aren't necessarily safer. The lesson is clear: bans create gaps, regulation fills them. That's why this isn't just a state issue anymore. It's a national one, and the Trump administration in Washington is going to have to deal with it sooner rather than later. Again, we'll learn more this week with Senator Rand Paul on this topic, so make sure you check in a little bit later on our TDR Trade to Black podcast going live Wednesday at 4. So let's wrap this up. A federally funded study shows states banning cannabis see higher sales of hemp intoxicants like Delta-8. That proves bans don't reduce demand, they just redirect it. And Delta-9 is intoxicating but not regulated like cannabis sold in dispensaries. That raises health and safety concerns. And states are stuck in a patchwork of bans and half measures. And also, the only real solution here is the federal regulation, which means the Trump administration in Washington has to take this issue head on. That's the reality for consumers, businesses, and policymakers. This is where we're at now. This is no longer a fringe issue. And I believe this topic is about to go to a whole new level. So what do you think? Should hemp THC be banned outright or regulated the same way as cannabis? Drop your comments below. Love to get your feedback, so let's keep this conversation going. And like I always say, if you like this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications so you don't miss the latest updates we provide you here at the TDR Cannabis In 5 presented by Dutchie. That's it for now. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Make sure you stay sharp, and I'll see you next time on our latest episode. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.